Hello, imaginary internet friends. Kratz here. I'm experiencing some technical limitations, so you'll have to bear with me as I'm using a headset today, which means that any of you that tune into my channel to see my beautiful ears are going to have to wait, until my next video probably, which is hopefully in a couple days. You know not to take any of my promises too seriously on my channel by now, right? Anyway, I'm here to talk about a game that I've recommended to a few people and has kind of been met with a lot of backlash by an actual community of players. So, I guess I'm here to defend myself, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, I'm here to give some thoughts on Sea of Thieves. I guess I'm here mostly to defend the game against people who are saying some different things about it. The first thing people are saying is there is a lack of content. And, it's hard to argue, I guess, that there could be more to this game. I'll give you that one. It's not very big. It's like a 9 gigabyte install on Xbox. I think it's like 18 gigs to download on PC, so you're right. There is, by its definition, not the correct number of assets you look for in a AAA title. I don't think that makes this a bad game, mind you, but there is an argument for that. But if that's your only argument, I think you're looking at this game a little short-sightedly, and you need to realize that this game is going to be under development for a long time. Think maybe GTA Online, kind of a continuous development model. So stay tuned. There's going to be more coming from this game. And I don't know. It's weird that it's taken them this long. I remember seeing E3 footage for this game back in 2015. It took them a long time to get this game out, and there's just not enough there to do. But I think eventually there will be. The other thing people like to argue is there's a culture of griefing. That's true. Yeah, there are a lot of trolls in the seas, but it's a game called Sea of Thieves. So if you're looking to take to the seas and not expect any challenge, any risk, the fact that your loot could be taken from you at any point from the time you dig it up from the dirt, the point you try and give it back to the gold hoarders in the outpost, I think you're a little misguided to begin with. This game is going to be filled with trolls. That's kind of what pirates were in a way. So to expect them to kind of like babysit and monitor players' behaviors in this game kind of goes against the whole point. I think if you play this game correctly, you can avoid a lot of that stuff. Keep your spyglass to the horizon. Always keep your anchor up. There are ways to avoid being set upon in this game. And I think the people that are really complaining about that sort of thing just need to play the game a little more. Get a little more experience, or find a few friends to play with, or play with a random group of people. I think this is maybe one of the few games in the last few years that I've played with people who are now my consistent friends that I play with online, because the community for this game is actually pretty good. I've met a lot of really cool people, both on my team and on other ships. So, I don't know. The sea has a lot of trolls, but there are a lot of good people out there too. Something else you hear a lot, the game is boring. Okay, there's an argument for that, I suppose, as well. Sometimes the wind's blowing directly in your face and your ship seems like it's barely moving. Yeah, that's a little tough, especially if you're sailing by yourself or with one other person. But if you're playing with a galleon of 4 friends, there are ways to pass the time. You can fill up on grog. You can play a little game we like to call Shoot the Bell up in the crow's nest. Kind of like a target shooting challenge we like to do when we're really on long sails. Yeah, play some music, throw up on one another. There are things to do. You can make your own fun with this game. To call this game boring just means that you're not trying, I think, in my opinion. There are so many different things to do. The ship combat in this game is so amazing. It's kind of like lightning in a bottle. I don't know, it's no better feeling than just truly satisfying ship combat. And yeah, I don't know. The strongholds have a lot of that stuff. The strongholds in general can be a lot of fun too. There's just an excitement too about having a lot of loot and a lot of cool things on your ship that you need to turn into an outpost. It makes every battle worthwhile. It makes them kind of electric, sort of. Quit saying anything about the lightning in the bottle. It's stupid. Anyway, people argue that this game is confusing, and it doesn't hold hands, that's for sure. You start out and you're just dropped into the universe and literally left to your own devices just to figure things out. But I don't think that there's anything in this game that goes too far against just logically what it would be like to sail a ship. In fact, one of the things that I think is really cool about this game is that I think the way they developed it was just they sat around and said, I want to make a game where I'm a pirate. And what would that be like? What are the things that you'd want to do as a pirate? And then they just thought of the things they would want to do and then programmed them. They're like, well, I want to definitely dig up a treasure chest. I want to fight other pirates. I want to see what it's like to actually manage and maintain the ship. I want to fix everything. I want to be able to sink other players' ships. I want to try and keep my ship from sinking. I want to get drunk. I want to stab a chicken. I want to play the accordion for a snake. I don't know. But I think that's kind of really cool. And the things you'll just learn by playing the game are really satisfying. Like when you finally find out if you play the accordion for the snakes, they'll calm down. It's kind of an important thing to know, but they're not going to tell you either. So hit the forums, play with other people. I think the fact that they don't hold your hand in this game is maybe one of the best things about it. And I guess some of my reasons for liking this game is that I think it's an important game. And I guess the reason that I think that is that it doesn't tell people what to do. It's just kind of a playground for you to go out and be a pirate. I think so many of today's games just have such a strong narrative context, which can be really good, by the way. It can be nice to have a nice story to your game, but at the same time, why don't you just make the story yourself? I think that's something this game does really well. You go around, you sail to different islands, you see people's gamer tags in different places, and then there's a lore there you kind of have to look up for yourself and find out, oh, this person won Falcon? They're on Shipwreck Bay because they kept falling off this same giant rock and killing themselves. That's why there's a skeleton implanted, head first halfway into the sand. And you find little Easter eggs like that all the time, and you realize that that's someone who is a real person out there, a real player who's out in the alpha, probably doing nothing too dissimilar to what you're doing now, is now immortalized inside this game. You think that's really cool. And I think that games need to kind of do that. They need to acknowledge their community. They need to be built in such a way that you drive the story. You create the narrative as a community, not just, hey, here's a quest marker, and now that you talk to this quest giver, go there. When you come back, I'll give you this cool shiny reward. I think we need to get away from that. I think every game being developed the same way and players having so many pre-built-in expectations of what a game has to be is really dangerous. So I think this is an important game. I think that Sea of Thieves is kind of paving the way to other games that admittedly might have more content and might have some different ideas, kind of making them comfortable to feel that they can make a game and be successful, even if it's not super hand-holdy and there's no tutorial, and you don't have to explain to the player how to have fun. You just have to build all the things they need to use to make their own fun. And I think that's an important concept that Sea of Thieves does really well. I think another thing that's kind of problematic is that people who are kind of naysaying this game might be the people who bought it and are now forced to play with random people. I think that can be something that's really difficult too. The game is so completely and entirely focused on teamwork, playing cooperatively, that if you're playing with a group of people that's not particularly cooperative, you're going to have kind of a bad time. And so I don't know that that's the game's fault necessarily. And while this is a game that you can have any of your friends try for free for 2 weeks on Xbox Game Pass, I don't know. I think it kind of comes down to you to find a few people that you trust who want to sail alongside on a pirate ship. Kind of figure that out for yourselves, and your enjoyment of this game will probably quadruple. I don't know what else to say about this game. I genuinely love it. I've probably played it at least 40 hours by now. I'm well on my way to becoming a pirate legend. I've convinced other people to buy it. Some people that I've convinced to buy it love the game, others not so much, but I'm hoping they will long-term kind of turn around. I think there's going to be a lot more content coming up in the next few months, let alone, probably the next few years. And this game's going to be one to continue to keep an eye on. I think it's going to continue to be kind of a streaming, I don't know that it's a streaming favorite, but I think it will be a popular stream game, especially once they get a few other things going on in the game. Anyway, I've been Mild Kratz. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time.